Hey everyone, it's Synth Designer back again with another video. Today I want to get into something a little bit different and talk about my process on how I kind of recreate different sounds from one synth onto another. Now the point of this is really to show you how you can take certain popular sounds and certain common sounds and then translate them from one synth to another. I thought it'd be useful because I use Serum a lot in my videos, and I know not everybody has Serum. So I try to make certain that I use sounds that can translate well from one synth to another, but that doesn't always work, right? But I did want to show you how easy it can be to take a certain preset and translate it from one synth to another. So I wanted to show you the kind of the thought process behind this. So when I pick a preset, for example, this is just a stock bass sound that you can find on Serum. A great saw wave bass, right? But not every sound's going to translate well. So what do you do to know if it translates from one synth to another? So the first thing I do is look at the wavetables. Right now there's 3 wavetables here, all saw waves, basic saw waves. That means any synth basically can handle this. Not many synths that you'll find that can't have a saw wave. Next thing is look at the filters, see what kind of filter. It's just a basic low filter, great. There's check number 2 that will show you it can be used basically anywhere. Then the next thing is check how the LFOs work. And the LFOs are going to be important because Serum has a bunch of LFOs that are not easily translatable to other synths, but right now it's using one and it's a triangle form. Basically, you'll find this on any synth with an LFO. The envelope section, really, you don't have to check too much because envelopes could be shaped in any synth, and basically you can't do anything in Serum that you can't in other synths. So then finally, I'll check the effects. Now the effects is going to be a little bit tricky because sometimes Serum does have, unique effects. Here we're using a compressor here, another filter, a delay, distortion, hyper. But the key thing is listen to the sound without certain effects and see if you're really missing it too much. And then you can determine whether that's important. So let's just A/B without the effects and see what it does. So we'll start with the sound, then take them out and see what we get here. I mean, the fundamental sound is there. All of these effects here are just kind of extra ear candy here. And these could be added through any third party as well, right? You don't need the stock effects from your synth. So what do we have here? We have a sound that could definitely be translated from Serum into another synth. Now, it's not going to sound exactly the same because each synth has particular parameters and particular algorithms that will change its sound, but I bet we could get close. So why don't we go into a stock synth GMS? So let's just initialize the preset here by going to user, default. We have to have 3 saw waves. So let's just start there and compare here. So click an Alt, and then if by clicking an Alt will actually bring up both of them so that they're both up at the same time. And just by comparison, so we have the 3 saw waves. So make sure that they're on. The levels are pretty even for each, I think, here. Yep, they're dead even, so we can just blend these all in here. So let's start right here. Turn the output up a little bit. What do we have here in terms of octaves? Octaves, we have each of them pitched down 1 octave. So let's go down here. 12 semitones is 1 octave. Then the unique thing here is this one is 7 extra semitones and this one's plus 5 extra semitones here. So we'll turn this down 1 more, or 7 semitones more. And then we'll turn this one up 5 semitones. Let's turn this up a bit maybe. And then what do we have here? We have 2 voices of unison on each of these. Right now it's just straight up the middle, so why don't we turn these up to 4 voices. Getting pretty close already, aren't we? And then we can change the stereo, but since this is a bass sound, you don't want too much stereo information. Okay. So what do we have here? Just this low, it's pretty much turned up all the way. Let's just hear how it sounds without the filter. Yeah, it's turned on a little bit, but not too much. So we can turn it down and just hear how it sounds. I think it's really meant just to cut out that very top end here. This still has more. And looking at the envelope couldn't be simpler, just completely open here, so we don't have to mess around with this at all. So that just leaves the effects. Now, we don't have a hyper in here, but we do have a little bit of distortion. Let's just A/B with the distortion here. You could make the argument that you don't even need it, but let's just try the distortion on here. So we have to turn on the glue here. Make sure you turn it down because it's going to be really loud. I think I'm going to turn the cutoff completely off. Okay, next we have a bandpass filter here. So the great thing about Serum obviously is that it allows you to have another filter. Unfortunately with GMS, for example, you can't have that. And let's just A/B to see what kind of difference the filter is making here. As you can see, the one LFO is actually attached to this bandpass. It's giving that kind of whooshing sound to it. Now, this is probably something we can recreate here with GMS. So let's go with a triangle. It is set to a bar. So let's turn the amount to 1 bar here. Or sorry, the rate to 1 bar. Okay. Actually, we can turn the bandpass on here. So we have the bandpass on, and then we can mess with the amount. Obviously, that's too much. Okay, so let's check a look at the other parameters here. Let's check the compressor. Yeah, it's going to make a difference. Not a huge one. Again, that's something you could do outside of the plugin. So I'm not loving this sound with the bandpass. I think I might change the type back to low pass. I'd say the distortion is adding too much, so I'm going to turn this off. Then we have the delay there that you can hear. Now delay is something you can easily add on afterwards. So let's just turn this off because we're not going to add it here. See what kind of effect it has. So you're really getting a similar sound here. Now the hyper, I bet, is adding it quite a bit too. That's mostly adding width to it, which we can do with the stereo signal too. So there you go. That's basically the sound there. Like I said, you're not going to get the exact sound because of the different types of algorithms each one of these synths use, right? However, you're getting a lot of the basics down here, and the idea is trying to get close to the sound and then maybe adding on third-party plugins to kind of improve it. But the basic function is there, especially if you're trying to recreate something. And I'm using GMS as an example, but you can recreate these in any synth is the idea, right? So if you have kind of a better sounding synth, so say you have Sylenth but not Serum or something like that, or vice versa, you can use them. So go through the process and then see what is creating the fundamental sound and then see if you can recreate it. So go through the wavetables, go through the filters, and then go through the effects and see what kind of effect that has on the sound, right? In this case, it's a basic saw, and these effects on Serum are really adding just kind of slightly more dimension, and it's going to kind of fine tune it. But the fundamental is there. If we were to take, say, a different sound here, this one's going to be a lot more difficult to recreate because one, it uses a noise, for example, here, and it has this crazy wavetable. The organ bass, a lot easier to recreate on pretty much every synth, and this is the popular 90s organ bass based on the M1. That could be recreated. Something like this, it's going to be difficult because of the wavetable. Unless you have a wavetable shaper and you want to go through the entire process of it, then it's going to be difficult. So remember those fundamentals and then see what kind of things that other synth that you're using can do. And if it can do similar things, then you're going to be able to get a similar sound, right? So I hope those tips helped, and I hope that kind of gives you a guideline on how I try to recreate sounds and what you can do for your own sounds, right? Don't feel that you're completely limited just because you may only have stock synths. I hope you really like this video, and I'll see you next time.